Welcome everyone to this 7-8 session of Card in the Energy Web by now, sorry. And in this session we will first discuss the riddle again briefly. The riddle has been given away by Ardian just now before we started the session officially, but I
Not
don't know if people
for
caught
everyone
it.
listening after though.
Exactly. I'm not sure if anyone caught it, so I'm curious. Did anyone find out about it or not? Because we did manage to put in some hints again in this week's episode cover. So if you did find it, let me know in the chat, and we can address that and applaud you for finding it. So briefly, I will share my screen so then we can go through it and people can see what we did. Just 1 second. This, let me share. So for who didn't see it yet, this was this week's episode cover. You see this part of a logo here around the moon, and this refers to Elia Group, to the logo of Elia. I'll show you. This is the logo of Elia Group, and you can see that that is the exact figure that we placed around the moon over here. And what we also did, we added a cannon here and Energy Web cannonballs. This refers to the Moonshot program that Energy Web has with Elia Group, or that Elia Group started. So the Moonshot program is a program that they have to address the future of energy, and they've got several things coming up, several products that are part of this Moonshot program. And we will briefly go through that Moonshot program today. We will discuss the different aspects of Card in the Energy Web, the different aspects of Elia Group and what they've been working on, and also share a little bit about Elia Group and what they've been doing with Energy Web. So to get started on that, Energy Web and Elia Group, they have been collaborating since almost the beginning. Elia Group was part of the first 10 companies that started Energy Web, and it's not the same as Grid Singularity or as RMI, but they are part of the initial 10 companies that started Energy Web. So that's also good to know. And yeah, I think we can discuss the several topics. I'm curious also, let me know in the chat if any one of you knew all the things that Elia Group is working on. So after this session, I hope you learned something new, because we will address the different topics that Elia Group has been working on. So Ardian, do you want to start with one of the topics from Elia Group, or shall I?
I think I can start. I'm just gonna say that Elia Group is actually really one of the biggest biggest supporters for Energy Web.
Mm-hmm.
They are Belgium based, right?
Yeah, Belgian and German based. So they're active in both these countries mostly. And
yeah. Can I ask what's the point of Elia Group and 50 Hertz? What do they have in common, or why are they mentioned mostly together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so depending on the region in Germany or in Belgium, you have Elia Group or 50 Hertz. 50 Hertz is in Germany, so that is part of Elia Group. Just like, for example, Re.Alto is also part of Elia Group. And Re.Alto, as we know, partnered with Elia Group, yes. Elli, the Volkswagen subsidiary, and Volkswagen on one of these use cases. So we know that they're collaborating on electric vehicle charging. And
right.
Re.Alto is also part of Elia Group. So these companies work together. So 50 Hertz, Elia Group, and Re.Alto, all three of them are being addressed in this session.
Yeah, you just mentioned BieEmWie. When we first had the the announcement from the official Energy Web on the BieEmWie Group partnership. We also had
Mhm.
the mention of Elia and how they published the first video of the partnership between Elia Group, BieEmWie, and how they are utilizing Energy Web for their digital passports, I believe. And even with ReBeam, the ReBeam project, we had Elia Group, right?
Yeah, correct. They are part of that as well. Yeah. So Elia Group in itself is not it's not that big of an organization. I mean, it's big. Don't get me wrong. But to give you somewhat of an image, there's 1,200 employees in Belgium and about 1,000 employees in Germany. So about 2,200 employees. They're listed on the stock exchange, and they're a transmission system operator, by the way. So they're located in Brussels, and they operate in Belgium and Germany, like I mentioned. Yeah, that's basically what they do, and they're quite innovative and active in setting up new initiatives. And also, what is also interesting, in my opinion, I'm not sure how many people know this, but Anaverse, for example, is a company trading renewable energy certificates or offsetting metaverse events or digital events emissions.
And our verse, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And
The guy from music.
that organization is or that company is started by Loic Tillman from Elia Group and Kai Smit also from Elia Group. So the two people running that are part of Elia Group as well, and they are active in the cryptosphere space. Just some side information that I knew. Do you want to start with one of the use cases, Ardian?
I'll just pass it to you.
You pass it to me. Okay.
All the use cases, man. I'm here for emotional support.
You're gonna pass them all to me.
Yeah, feel free. I'll just jump in now and then to just say some make some noise behind.
Okay.
You did all the job on Elia, man. All mostly. What I did on Elia, it was just resharing your post and just making it a little bit more fancy.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Um, so okay, it's a bit difficult because there's so many different topics to start on that I want to address in this session. I think it would be good if we go back a little bit in time. So I'm just gonna check which thread I wrote earliest about them to give you somewhat of an image of what is going on. By the way, if in the meantime, Ardian, you could look up the portal that we saw in the past from Elia Group, because I know that they have one page, right, where you can
Yeah, right.
also check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure which page that is again, but it's for the charging infrastructure. We can show that to people as well. What actually I found it now. What got me interested in Elia Group back then was this small post. I actually responded that to HSV back then. His Twitter account is no longer active, but this was what started my interest in 50 Hertz and the Elia Group, because in 2021 I was reading through these papers that Elia Group releases on a yearly basis, and of course Elia Group's collaboration with Energy Web was already public, but I found something about blockchain-based digital identities and integrating them into electric vehicles and the power system. And these digital identifiers or digital identities, adding them to electric vehicles, that was one of the first use cases that I saw being built out by Energy Web in collaboration with 50 Hertz. Back then, it was also more or less the time around which 50 Hertz, in which Energy Web merged with Share and Charge. Share and Charge, what used to be a separate entity with the open charging network, which was running on Energy Web. And that merged with Energy Web and was in line, or how do you say that? It was compliant, I have to say, with the Open Charge Point Interface, the OCPI. And with the help of Energy Web's toolkit, digital identities were created and anchored on a blockchain of an electric and used to manage and to identify electric vehicles. So that was the first use case that I found back then.
No, the share and charge protocol, or do you call it a protocol? I don't know.
Share and Charge is a company that is now part of Energy Web.
Yeah,
And,
no. After they even went on the building a payment method for not just for the DID, but then they added the payment method and also I think the communication. I may be wrong here.
Sorry, what?
For charge and share.
Yeah. So that they actually merged at some point, and what was interesting is that this was picked up. This specific picture was picked up by Chico Crypto. So Chico asked me where I found this, and then did a video on this as well. And yeah, that gave me some exposure back then. But it is what initially got my interest in 50 Hertz and Elia Group. And also, what is interesting is that Share and Charge was already collaborating with Re.Alto, which is a part of Elia Group as well. So that is something I found out back then too. Yeah, and since then, a lot of things have happened and have been started by Elia Group and 50 Hertz. So one of the earlier use cases that people may know about is the BMW one. So BMW was starting a collaboration with Elia Group and Energy Web on EV charging. As this one, it was announced in January 2022. So it was successfully demonstrated. You can see that here. There's a YouTube video about it as well, about digital passports for electric vehicles. So that is part of what I just showed you, the digital identity for electric vehicles. And that was successfly demonstrated in January 2022. Yeah. So almost exactly in line with this.
That as the partnership with BMW, I think. BMW. I don't know why I'm saying BMW.
Oh yes, it's BMW in Dutch as well, so I can imagine.
We have a guy lately that's going viral for loving BMWs, and he keeps calling them BieEmWie, something like that, and that stuck in my head.
Yeah. Well, I made a mistake once of saying EWT instead of EWT. So I can imagine.
we say EWT too. Yeah, but
yeah, exactly. So this was demonstrated in January 2022, right? And it was part of what you see here, the blockchain-based digital identity, integrating them in EVs. So this was what all started with. And what I'll bring you to is this aspect of BMW, Elia Group, and Energy Web with Llama, which is a charging point operator. And that was demonstrated successfully. But after that, that is not something that a lot of people know, I believe. After that, this was completed. These organizations also were part of Omega X. And Omega X is, let me see where that is. This is the video, by the way. I will send all the links in the chat after the session so you can look them up yourself and look through it at your own pace. This is a short video about the digital passports that I'm showing that right now. And this is Omega X. So I mentioned Omega X as part of Gaia X, which is a European initiative. It's selected by the European Commission to develop the energy data space. Omega X is a large program, about 30 organizations are a part of it. And Energy Web is also a part of this organization, as is Elia Group. So what we found out back then in December 2021 is that Elia Group 50 Hertz are a part of it, Energy Web is a part of it, and that the program that they're working on is also a continuation of what they've been doing with BMW. So the Moonshot program, as Loic Tillman from Elia Group calls it, consumer centricity moonshot was his exact wording. That is also a part, or BMW is also a part of that. And it's something that what we saw mentioned before in this video. And this is the moonshots by Elia Group. They're called that way. I didn't see much follow-up on the moonshots program in itself. But it's a 2-minute 29 video in which they announced the 5 key points on which Elia Group will be working. And the program or the topic with BMW and these digital identities for electric vehicles is a part of that. And also bloXmove is a part of that, by the way, which is, at least bloXmove worked not on the BMW use case, but they did work on the ReBeam use case, which is also built out by Elia Group and Energy Web.
Yeah, they worked with BMW too and Volkswagen. bloXmove, Energy Web, and the two the car manufacturers.
I don't think bloXmove worked with BMW Group, to be honest. I think they worked on the ReBeam use case for testing.
BMW, Energy Web, and Harry Barnes. He's mentioned, and I think it was on a.
No, that was for the ReBeam solution. The ReBeam solution is something that is separate from the BMW collaboration.
Yeah, from the first BMW collaboration with Elia, yes, but then there was bloXmove and BMW mentioned with the German city, I think. Wait, one minute, I can find it.
Okay. Anyway, so Ionis Vlachos, who is a part of Energy Web, he is the one advising on this architecture for Gaia X initiative, or Omega X at least. And the consumer centricity moonshot program is used in Omega X. So that is the BMW partnership, which is being built out further within that ecosystem of Omega X. Omega X, if I'm not mistaken, is running until 2025. So it's a multi-year program. And I'm really excited and curious what we will see from the consumer centricity program, or what we will see of that.
Yeah, check the chat. I just shared it. It's Dina from the German Federal Energy Agency. It's Volkswagen, BMW, Elia, and 50 Hertz from Germany. And it's a video. I think it was shared by Elia Group.
Nice. What does Daniel remember? I see Daniel remembers something. It was 1916. I don't know what part I was talking about.
It was early, yeah. And here it was Energy Web and bloXmove with the Elia Group, BMW, and Volkswagen.
All right, nice.
Also, just to add up to the chat, I forgot, but I just found out that Elia Group is also on the image shared by Energy Web on the relay chain. So yeah, we might see a parachain from Elia Group on the Energy Web X.
I do believe we will see that actually, because Elia Group is one of the most active builders of solutions on Energy Web chain or on Energy Web. If you look at what Elia Group has been doing, they've been working on this BMW use case for digital identities for electric vehicles, like I mentioned, but it's only one of the things that they've been working on. So I'm just going to close the ones that I already discussed. So the whole line since the digital identities in 2021 rolled out until the presentation of the digital identities solution with BMW Llama for the charging point operator, and Energy Web and Elia Group at the end of 2021, beginning 2022. Then Omega X was started, and the European program for energy and data spaces. And that is something that Elia Group and Energy Web are participating in, and where this whole solution is being built out further and rolled out further. But that is not all. So we have Omega X, we have BMW, we have the charging point operators and the charging system with Elia Group, but which you can also see here, by the way. So this was also part of that. Here you see the overview, the vehicles and charge points. This is part of the Elia Group portal, by the way.
I didn't find the portal. Couldn't find
Oh,
it.
you couldn't find it. Okay, doesn't matter. So there's a portal, and there you can see the different vehicles that are connected to it, to the Elia Group web page, and the CPOs, the charging point operators, and the charging points that are on there. And that system is being worked out further. So that's pretty cool, in my opinion. But then we get to something else, and that is something I found in 2022 as well. This was already halfway to 2022. Back then, I wrote a small thread about energy track and trace. So this is an initiative started by 3 TSOs: Elia Group for Belgium and Germany, Elering, which is part of Estonia's TSO network, and Energinet, which is the Danish TSO. And what it does, it allows companies to track renewable energy from source to consumption. So this is green proofs, actually. They call it energy track and trace. This is literally green proof solution. So I think that's pretty cool. Energy Origin, there's a video about it on Vimeo. And this was started in 2020, and the proof of concepts were created in 2021. And there's a difference, I have to say that, between the Energy Web 24/7 energy procurement kit and the Hyperledger Sawtooth solution. So as you can see here, the green, I'll read it for the ones who are listening in via the podcast on Spotify or other platforms. So the green tracking was developed by Elia Group and Energy Web in 2021 to facilitate 24/7 energy procurement with a toolkit. And the project Origin is a different project, which was developed by Energinet in 2020, and that one used Hyperledger Sawtooth. So it didn't use the solution by Energy Web. There is a collaboration, by the way, between Hyperledger and Energy Web. So possibly this system can interact with each other, and especially when the toolkit solutions are going to be able to be operated without running on the Energy Web chain, then this could be interesting. It doesn't really say which one is being used by Elering. So I see Energinet, the Danish one here, and I see Elia Group, but I don't know which Elering has been a part of. So it could be Energy Web, could be Sawtooth. But this is interesting because it shows that the green proof solution, as they call it, has already been developed in 2021, and the proof of concepts were successfully completed, the prototypes, in 2021. Pilot testing has started already in October 2022, which is 4 or 5 months ago. And it has the implementation of the Energy Web blockchain. So there's also a small video about this, and yeah, it's almost ready for production, I would say, when I look at this.
Yeah, this is nice. I didn't know this. I apparently missed this thread from you.
It goes even further, to be honest. So, and yeah, you can't keep up with everything. I mean, that's why we are wrapping all of this up in one session now, right? Because we can talk about this on Twitter, but now I'm bringing all the different threads that I wrote about Elia Group together in this one session. If there's any questions, I'll just check. No questions yet to see. No, nothing in the chat. So this is energy track and trace. And then when we look further at what is being done, then we can see, this is not the right one, by the way. This is about digital product passport again. Sorry. Then we can see, we come to this one. And this is also what was covered by Chico Crypto a while ago, I think last week or a week before. He did do a shout out, a small one to me as well. But he got his information on the exchange of energy blocks from this thread of mine. So what it shows is that exchange of energy blocks is a platform, and TraXes is the one-stop shop for energy services, as they call it. And both of these platforms, or at least the shop, so to say, and the platform, they are part of this centralized vision by Elia Group, and it's called CCMD, Consumer-Centric Market Design. And that vision is something you see in all their reports. You even saw it in their financial report of Elia Group, which was released the 3rd of March, so 4 days ago. I read through all 70 pages to see if I could find something new. There was nothing new there except for this consumer-centric market design, again being readdressed as one of the most important things Elia Group is working on. So what is it and how do these things tie in? So I just discussed energy track and trace, so the green proof solution. And this all ties into Energy Web again as well, the consumer-centric market design, because it's explained here, by the way, in this 2-minute video. And it explains how you need an exchange of energy blocks. So you need to have a hub where the different parties, consumers and the ones who are generating electricity, can exchange this energy with each other. And it's on a 15-minute basis, so it's more or less real time. And in doing so, these energy blocks that are created on this 15-minute basis, they can be exchanged with each other. So it's basically enabling a peer-to-peer energy trading platform. And if you have solar panels and you produce more energy than you need, you can sell that energy to your neighbor. Nowadays, at most European countries, that is not possible. In the Netherlands, for example, you need a business registration for that in order to be able to sell that energy. You need to have a company registration. So what is being done presently by the European Union, and was also something that Anna Trebovic addressed, is that they're enabling peer-to-peer energy trading without having to register as a company when you're an individual. And that is what is being worked on and what is being released or ready in 2024.
24?
So the exchange of energy, 2024, halfway 2024, is when the final regulation should be in place, I think, by European member states. But it's already being formulated in 2023. And I think I know what you want to say, and that is that Elia Group's solution, this one, is being finalized and is expected to be ready halfway 2023. That is what you was talking about, right?
Yeah, I guess I was talking about.
Okay. So something else that was very interesting in this article, or this thread that I wrote, is that ETT, so what I just described in that previous thread of mine, energy track and trace, that is enabling this exchange of energy blocks. So ETT will run within the Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability, the actual Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability. This was mentioned by Matthias Vergouwen, who is a technical architect, data and AI for sustainability at Microsoft. So he quoted this solution. He said, energy track and trace energy consumers allows energy consumers to match their renewable energy 24/7 on a 15-minute basis within the Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability. This is also one of the quotes that was addressed by Chico Crypto, and it's this screenshot that he showed to prove that. And he also mentioned rightfully that this Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability ties in to the Azure Marketplace offering Energy Web toolkits, right? That is something we saw. We saw that a few weeks back.
I just got a heads up to you, man. I could barely pronounce the BMW, and you just pronounced that name, Matthias Wagenhauer.
Vergouwen, I think it's a Dutch name. So
there you go, and I don't know.
So that's easy for me then. Thanks. Yeah. So this is basically what is being worked on again by Elia Group, and it uses the 24/7 energy procurement toolkit by Energy Web. So we already know that the green proof solution is being used for ETT. We know that the 24/7 energy procurement toolkit is being used for the ETT solution as well, which is, by the way, more or less the same. I'm just repeating myself, I think both are different names for the green proof solution when I look at it again. So green proofs is actually being used for energy track and trace and for this solution. This consumer-centric market design is quite big because it's also again mentioned in this paper by Elia Group. And this one, this screenshot that I'm just showing on my screen here, ties it all together. And no worries, I will read it out loud for the podcast listeners. But what it is saying is that there's 3 different sides to it. So you have TraXes, the one-stop shop for energy services, and that is part of the consumer-centric vision, exchanging energy blocks between market parties. So this is a shop where people can buy and sell this energy with each other. It's consumer data access, so it also ties into Omega X again, because that is about energy and data. And that is also probably why Elia Group is a part of that initiative, Omega X. So it allows efficient sharing of consumer data between market parties, subject to the consent of the data owner. So this is data ownership to an individual basis. And I think this second point is what ties into Omega X about energy data and energy data spaces, which is the European program. Then you have energy track and trace, which is also part of TraXes, and it's tracking the origin of electricity generation, as I mentioned. So here you see all the terms come together, and this is all part of Omega X, in my opinion, and all part of what we see in the regulatory landscape in Europe presently. Then we have the Elia. Yeah, sure.
I just remembered something from the, I think from the pictures. I remember there was a project you found a while back. It was you made it like a quiz who could find the screenshot you provided. It was I think Banula or something like that for car charging or something like that. Was it part of Elia Group too or no?
Banula
This
is
one,
with Transnet BW. Yeah, it's this one.
yeah. Is it part of? Is it the work from Elia Group, or maybe I'm just mixing it with the orange-looking logo?
Yeah,
I forgot.
it's Transnet BW. Let me see the partners. This is a German website, by the way, that I'm looking at presently. And these are the partners. Elli Systems, which is part of Energy Web's ecosystem as well. Transnet BW, which is working with Elia Group on another part as
I
well.
see 50 hertz there. Okay, so
And yes,
there's some connection then.
yeah, it says the following partners support us, and it says 50 hertz. So yes, they work with a partner here that is known to Energy Web. But yeah, I don't know if this is. I wrote a thread about this in the past, but I can't say with certainty that Energy Web's blockchain is being used here. So it's a bit like this ETT solution. Sorry, here. Which is in part using Hyperledger and in part using another solution. So I'm not 100% sure. I did find some other information on it lately, but I'm not exactly sure if this is something that ties into us. It was already speculation back then as well, but both Elli and 50 Hertz being part of it, I do think that there's a relationship, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mixed them probably. So I thought it was built by Elia Group, but yeah.
No, unfortunately not. No. So yeah, just to go briefly back to this previous point, this page shows all the different solutions and the abbreviations by Elia Group, which they're working on. There's one more that I didn't mention explicitly. It's EPIC, empowering the customer. It's a Elia portal interface for customers, is what they call it. So it's simply customer login portal, I would say. I haven't looked into it that much, I have to admit that. I can't open it as a screenshot, of course. Yeah. So those are the different solutions, and I think this is also quite big, by the way. I don't know if people know this, but one of the partners for this program, TraXes, is KBC, a Belgian bank, which has over 41,000 employees and manages 216 billion euros in 2019. and they are collaborating with the CCMD, so the consumer-centric market design, amongst others, for electric vehicle charging solutions via this KBC Bank app. So we will see a bank straight out the gates, a Belgian bank, a large one, collaborating on this CCMD system for electric vehicle charging, and that will be with Energy Web. So pretty cool. I don't think people saw this. Maybe Sloth knows the bank, by the way. He's Belgian, I guess.
Yeah. He was on the woods, so maybe he forgot something.
And this is, by the way, just for your information, if you look at this consumer-centric market design overview, you can see that the enablers that they need for this is digital identities and decentralized technologies. So this is all Energy Web, confirmed again. And this is from the roundtable, by the way. They have a separate page of Elia Group specifically for this consumer-centric market design. And here it also says easier onboarding of assets via digital identifiers and verifiable credential concepts. So again, Energy Web here. This is the best part. It's aligned with EU policy and achievable in practice. So I was mentioning that they will enable peer-to-peer energy trading by 2024, but it seems as if they found a loophole around it, because they said it builds on the current market design and it's dubbed an evolution, not a revolution. So what they are doing and the way that they get this, that they get ahead of the competition, is by proposing a design with the consumer-centric market design that is built on Elia Group and 50 Hertz, and therefore doesn't require individuals to be company owners and enables them to trade peer-to-peer energy within the present EU regulation. So it doesn't require the regulatory change to be implemented yet. And that is something that enables this solution to be the first solution there is in Europe, enabling this. At least that's how I interpret it. So it's really big.
That's really good.
Yeah, and here you can see the go live is expected end of 2023. This is something that I presented then as well. They had a roundtable discussion at the end of 2022, and they said, okay, the go live of the TSO grid is end of 2023. But I know that part of this already goes live halfway 2023, so we don't have to wait that long anymore.
Yeah. I just got a message from Sloth. Really nice stuff. I don't think it's connected to this Elia Group, but I never saw this before, and I think you will be amazed by what he found too.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Nice one.
Yeah. Right. So, in brief, I think we've managed to talk about the different solutions. I think consumer-centric market design is really big. It's a really big application for Energy Web. We've seen the digital identifier role and the green proofs role that this will play in the electric vehicle charging solutions. This consumer-centric market design is really big. There's a whole page for it, like I mentioned, and it will be a reality soon. It's already been worked on for a long time. And then lastly, and this is also something that I mentioned earlier, Volkswagen, Elli, Elia Group, Re.Alto, and Energy Web working together on delivering proof for renewable energy purchases and carbon accounting solutions for EV fleets. So we've seen these pictures before, where we see Elia Group represented, we see Elli represented, and, which is part of Volkswagen, yes, and they are signing a contract to collaborate. So yeah, they signed the MOU to accelerate the integration of EVs into the electricity system. So this is also a part, again, of what Elia Group is doing. And you see Re.Alto as well. And Re.Alto is, like I mentioned before, it's part of Elia Group. Yeah. It's this company, by the way.
Is it like an app? Or
they have an app, yeah. True.
Yeah, it's a smart charging app.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that Re.Alto will be integrated with Energy Web tech as well. And I'm guessing that this it all ties into the BMW solution, the Volkswagen solution. And as you can see, it's also beneficial as it includes Energy Web being integrated in the Elli app from Volkswagen. So this makes it possible to have all these digital solutions for charging integrated in these vehicles. And there's also ReBeam, of course, again, like I mentioned, which is also part of the Omega X program and is explained on Elia Group's website. This one ties into Energy Web switchboard and bloXmove's verifiable presentation and CPO node, so charging point operator node. Which uses or sends the verified time series and invoices and the proof of that to the TSOs, the transmission system operators, the suppliers and the users, and also to the charging app. So here you see the full overview of that. ReBeam was concluded, by the way, successfully, but there's also... Sorry?
Yeah, it did finish the project.
Yes, this one finished successfully, ReBeam. I see the page is no longer there. I'm glad that I made a screenshot of how the tech was functioning, this one. But there's a follow-up coming of that. So ReBeam is also not completely concluded yet. As in, there's a follow-up from what I understood. So we'll see when that goes live.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah.
How much Volkswagen is collaborating here, it's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
With Energy Web and with all the partners from the Energy Web. And the one app you just mentioned, the Banula one from 50 Hertz, Sloth just found us a connection that may I'm not saying fully, but it may means that it's using the Energy Web. Once we finish the session, you can find it. I won't share it right now because maybe you can write or you or Sloth can write a great thread on that because it's including a few other partners I didn't know of. So maybe they are partnering with Energy Web and we didn't know of until now. But yeah, once you see it, you'll know.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now, and I see some interesting connections here. Sorry?
I said, did you open it? The link he sent.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it has some new names I never saw before. But yeah, it's all Energy Web is all over this PDF file.
I noticed it too. So yeah, there's definitely something that we can dig into there. Looking forward to doing that. Okay, so briefly, I'll stop sharing my screen to summarize. Elia Group is one of the co-founders, one of the original 10 companies who started Energy Web. They have been working on digital identifiers for electric charging of vehicles. And this solution was then tested with BMW via Llama, which is a charging point operator, and Lichtblik, which is an electricity provider, and together with Energy Web. This BMW pilot was successful. So after that, they joined Omega X with this BMW pilot. They called it part of the Moonshot program of Elia Group. Elia Group has a Moonshot program, like I mentioned. This Moonshot program is also part of Omega X. It's one of the 5 core points on which Elia Group will focus in the coming years. And in the meantime, they've also started a partnership with Volkswagen and Elli. And they're doing that with Re.Alto, which is a software provider from Elia Group. There, they are also providing charging solutions, the same as they are doing with ReBeam, which is a pilot that they started with Mittweida, I think, in Germany, and in which other parties such as Elia Group, Energy Web, and bloXmove played a role. And as far as I know, this is going to be continued. SAP is also a part of that, by the way, and they are one of the how do you say that? Once we started that program, from what I understood. So that is all focused around charging solutions for electric vehicles. Banula could possibly tie into that. We have to figure that out further. There's some really good connections there with 50 Hertz, which is a German branch of Elia Group, and with Elli Systems, which is running using Energy Web tech as well. And they're also focusing on Elli Charge, which is a charging solution from Elli, also based on blockchain technology and most likely Energy Web.
Yeah, they mentioned it, and I think I forgot it was blockchain is our backbone or Energy Web is our backbone. I can find it right now. 1 minute.
Yeah. So Elli Systems has been building that as well. It's a German company, just like 50 Hertz is, as it's part of Elia Group, like I mentioned. So this is really cool, and I think all of this is tying into the electric vehicle charging. And then on the other hand, you have the whole exchange of energy blocks, and you have the whole consumer-centric market design, which is also a part of this program by Elia Group, and where they focus on trading energy between individuals. And as I mentioned, they are doing that in a way that is compliant with regulation, so they don't have to change the regulation first, so that the regulatory changes in the EU don't have to take place in order to run that solution. They're not depending on regulatory changes there. Which is, in my opinion, revolutionary. They call it evolutionary, but I would say that is revolutionary because there's not many times that you can work around regulation. And that is the TraXes program. That is the program that they're working on for consumers and solar panels at home. I think it's really cool that they are doing that too. So they're focusing both on individual energy trading as well as on the electric vehicle charging and trading of energy there.
Yeah, Elia is really big, and it's one of the founders from 10 founders, as you mentioned. So yeah, I think we will see. I can't wait to see the parachain. What will it be like, or how much could it help us? I just
because
shared.
we didn't even talk about that yet. Yeah.
I don't know.
Shared something about Elli blocks and things, right?
Yeah, what do you expect? Do you expect a token from Elia Group, or you think they will just launch on EWT on the Energy Web X and using EWT directly?
Not really sure, to be honest. I think they will use a parachain. One of the original 10 companies, and also the picture that we saw shows that as a parachain there. So I do think that they could choose that option. I think it's quite likely, actually.
Here I shared the pictures from Ole. You can see they said blockchain is the beating, or what is it? Wait, blockchain as the beating heart of our ecosystem. And when you check the blockchain they mentioned here, it's only node, maybe this greenproof node or a worker node, and then we have the Energy Web logo and something about private under the only node, and then you can see the products they are creating with this blockchain, some applications from software, hardware, and then only label, only market, only balance, and only move. They are all products the only energy is building on top of Energy Web.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's away from Elia, but yeah, I think this can connect us to the Banula app, because that one was pretty good.
I think so too. I think Banula is also a part of, or will tie in at some way or another to Energy Web, but we'll have to investigate that a little bit further. We talked about it in the past, indeed, but we haven't found conclusive evidence, so we're looking into that further. Yeah.
Can I ask you, what do you think about the on the last part of the MA with Martin just now from Uphold? Jesse mentioned we will have 2 new partners coming really soon. One is on communications, and one is on consulting. What do you think the partners will be? who do you think they can be? He said major partnerships. So on my opinion, I think it's either AT&T or Verizon, or how do you pronounce it? And on the consulting partner, it may be Accenture or Accenture. How do you call them?
I think it's Deloitte.
Deloitte? Okay, that's a great guess. And, Frank just mentioned Dogecoin.
AT&T, I'm not that familiar. Well, I know them, of course, but I'm not familiar with them that much. I think since they're in Texas, they could very well be the communications partner. I can imagine that.
Yeah.
I do think that Deloitte is the other one, the consulting partner, because Deloitte is part of the Saba initiative, and I wrote a thread about that as well. I don't know if you recall that.
Yeah.
In which they said that Deloitte would be on board as soon as something for the soft framework was completed, and that they would then also work with this stack. And they have been writing about Energy Web before.
We just had Rocky Mountain Institute and Deloitte partnership together for another initiative. I forgot what it was. It was just this week, I think. So yeah, you may be right here.
Orange Business Services could also be the ones, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, but
Saba, Deloitte is part of Saba, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it connects more to the latest partnership with Rocky Mountain Institute. Yeah. Okay. I'm with Deloitte too. Forget Accenture.
Or Salesforce, maybe. There's a lot of solutions with Salesforce too.
Oh. Okay. I won't ask you.
They're software consulting, right?
Yeah, because Salesforce is on the Saba, or was it on virtual power plant? It was on partnerships.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
And it even was on the crypto climate accord. So yeah, it could be.
Salesforce and Deloitte is my bet, and the other one is possibly AT&T. Yeah, makes more sense to have Deloitte, I think. Still, I don't know why.
I hope it's AT&T. They are big. They're so big that they are even there are conspiracy theories about AT&T. we like that.
That's what we need. All right. Solution data exchange. What was that about? Or Frank asking that? Or that's for all these systems? Yeah, it could be. I think it is. Yes.
Is it data exchange? Where? I can see.
In the chat, Franco is asking.
You tagged my photo for the DOS.
Yeah, for the older box with Energy Web and Grid Singularity.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, data exchange. Yeah, from Energy Web X. Yeah, could be. They were pretty excited about this news when they launched it.
Right. Unless you have something to add to this session, Ardian, I think that was it, right?
Yeah. You did a good job, man. As I said in the beginning, I was here just for emotional support and just to make some noise. So yeah.
This was a bit of a monologue this time. I hope people still enjoyed it. The summary in the end provided most of the information, but it was a deep dive in Elia Group. I've been writing a lot about Elia Group because I believe it's one of the bigger advertisers, so to say, of Energy Web. So in my opinion, we will see a lot of adoption coming via Elia Group. In the end, they are the expert and they can copy, or other companies can copy more or less that solution to their own company framework. And once everything is live there, I think we will see good adoption coming in via Energy Web, and via Elia Group, I mean. So I have good faith in Elia Group as being one of the catalysts for Energy Web.
Yep. Even though I did a scale back then, where I put the highest and the richest partnerships we had. Elia wasn't on the top first partnerships. We had some really big guys like Shell, Volkswagen, Elia, I think it was on the poor side. they only had like 7 billion or something like that. But the projects and the adoption they are bringing is bigger than the bigger guys.
Indeed, I think that is also what you need to keep in mind. If you look at adoption, I read a report a few days back, and if you look at that, I'll explain what it is about. We've been hearing slowly, steadily, then suddenly a lot, right, for a long time. I think most people are more or less tired about it and waiting for the suddenly to happen. If you look at how that process goes from slowly to suddenly, you first need to have an idea, survey workshop. You need to work out that idea. You need to see what technology you need to use for that, what makes sense, and to develop that idea. It's not a chronological process. It's not a process that goes from point A to point B. It's an iterative process, meaning you go back and forth a little bit. You experiment, you do POCs, you fail, you try something else. And that is also what we saw with Energy Web and with now first the Relay Chain and now Energy Web X. It takes investment, it takes time. You need to find your niche. You need to find what works and what doesn't. And the only way to do that is by actually testing it in real life. And there's very valuable lessons learned there. So taking these lessons, that is the first step, like I mentioned, is testing it, is trying out things, trying to find solutions that work. Once you've found solutions that work, you need to implement these solutions in POCs and proof of concepts or pilot projects. Once you run these POCs or pilot projects, you will notice that some of them fail, some of them don't, some of them are good, and you continue the ones that are good. At some point, you come to a point where you have a portfolio of products that you can offer. And this is the point, in my opinion, where Energy Web is at now. If you look at their website, they've got 3 solutions. The data exchange is one of them, green proofs is another one of them, and the third one, what was that again? I don't know from the top of my head.
Asset manager, I think.
Yes, asset manager, yeah. So asset management is the third one. These 3 solutions are now the solution package that Energy Web wants to offer, and you can see that this is ramping up. So then after you have these solutions worked out and the POCs done, then you get to the early adopters. And the early adopters is the ones like Elia Group, in my opinion. And that's what I wanted to say. And Elia Group, in my opinion, is one of these early adopters, and you need these in order to accelerate. That solution is halfway 2023, end of 2023. And that is ready, in my opinion. Elia Group is one of the early adopters. The other ones are the aviation industry with Saba and with sustainable aviation fuels, Shell, etc. So we have a few of these early adopters. And what I see now is that these solutions are crystallizing, they're materializing in the real world, but they won't lead to big, large-scale adoption yet because it's not the basic systems running on them yet. Like they're trying it in closed environments, in small environments, testing it, implementing it on a small scale.
Yeah,
eventually legacy systems will start running on it, and that's when we will see the suddenly.
Once the product is finished and it proves itself, no one else needs to do more proofs or to test more. They can just go right with the product or build it a product on their company, just like Elia Group or just like Shell, and they can just launch their products because they know it works and they know all the tests that Elia Group did, and they just know it works, and they will probably just adopt it right away. So yeah, you're right.
Exactly. So I believe 2024 will be the suddenly year. I think 2023 is too soon, depending on what kind of partners we work with. But I think 2024 we'll then see the suddenly, I believe. I hope so, at least.
Yeah. So it means survive until 2024.
It's only 9 or 10 months left, right? Till 2024.
Let's survive some time.
Less than a year.
I believe burgers.
It would be awesome, by the way, because if we do get it in 2024, that's, well, hopefully, if we are lucky and the macroeconomic situation doesn't limit us too much, that would also be more or less the time when we would have the next Bitcoin halving taking place and when we would have the next bull run coming up. So if we would get it in 2024, timing would be good for once.
What if
That would be
it was always the plan?
That's what they will say afterwards. But anyway, I don't dare to hope too much. But this is just my take on things, and I think
I'm hyped
Elia
now.
will play a big role in that.
I'm hyped now.
Me too. I see, by the way, one remark from Franco that the electricity sector regulation slows everything down. Yes, but like I said, Elia Group is working around that by using the current system and not working outside of that. So they will provide a platform where people can trade their electricity as an intermediary, meaning there's no peer-to-peer energy trading without an intermediary, and that way they circumvent the regulation of peer-to-peer trading, which will be implemented in 2024. So in that way they can speed up the process, and I think that's very smart. So thank you all for your time. I think I've talked enough for now. I hope you learned something new, and yeah, I hope my conclusion provided some value.
Yeah, thank you. It was really, really good. And sorry for doing it all yourself, but yeah, you have been doing it for 2 years now, so another hour wasn't that much. No, I'm
That's true.
just talking about that. But yeah, you did all the work on Elia, and we are really thankful for this, because yeah, there are lots of partners to go and dig. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me promise you guys one thing. I will make an overview, a visual. I normally don't do that. I will make a visual this time, showing the different aspects of Elia Group and what they're doing with Energy Web, how it ties together, and create an overview of the different solutions. So you can skip this whole hour of talking if you didn't listen in to all of it, or you can simply share that image and people will see what it's all about.
Okay, we can share it and listen it.
All right, perfect. Yeah, let's do that. So thanks again for your time, guys, and for listening in. Have a good evening, and yeah, speak to you next time.
Bye bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.